welcome back to an episode of The Elite, the Elite Count. I am War Machine MJ. You see all of my titles, and I'm here today to talk about AEW AEW Dynamite from 420. 420 pot jokes. Okay, let's move on. Let's go ahead and kick things off. We started off the night with a dream match. Nobody expected, and even fewer people expected, a match of absolute quality as CM Punk, the best in the world, took on Dustin Rhodes, the Natural. And these guys did a hell of a job. They for the first chunk of this match, they put on an absolute game of human chess until Dustin missed a crossbody on Punk and compromised his knee, and Dustin compromised Punk's arm, and then Punk and Dustin showed each other respect until Punk tried to lock in an ankle lock on Dustin early on in the match, when Dustin kicked him in the bad arm, and then Punk just took off the helmet and pads, and just rode that bike, if you will. And they threw everything at each other. Hell for leather. CM Punk, he's been on top of his game since he came back to AEW. Well, since he came back to the World of Pro Wrestling, and Dustin Rhodes has successfully chiseled off all of the ring rust and the ravages of Father Time. And finish came when Punk puts up Dustin for the GTS. He couldn't connect because of the compromised arm. Dustin slipped out the back door, rolled up Punk. Punk sat down on the roll-up, and he got the victory. After the match, both men showed respect to one another. And as Punk was making his way up the ring, because he kept, making the title belt gesture, Hangman Adam Page came out and, stared him down. So, these two are going to collide. These two are going to collide sometime down the road. Next, we had footage of Wardlow showing up to the arena when he was greeted by a swarm of AEW security, and, of course, smart Mark Sterling, who Mark Sterling, in this scenario, is representing MJF. And he presented Wardlow with a list of demands, specifically assigned by MJF. Number one, everywhere Wardlow goes, he is to be flanked by security, and subsequently his options are limited. He can only go to his locker room, or as Mark Sterling said, closet, to the ring, and then once the match is over, he's out of the building. Demand number two is that Wardlow has to be handcuffed, around the building until it's time for his match. And number three, MJF sent a message for Mark Sterling to say, and he says, "Eat," and then he turns to the camera and mouths, "shit," and then he turns back to Wardlow and calls him a pig. As Sterling walks off, Wardlow goes, "Yeah, oink oink, bitch." And then he's walking with security, and of course he goes, "Let's go, boys. One of you grab my bag." So we'll see them a little bit later on. Next, we had another trios match involving the BCC, of course, Danielson, Mox, and Yuta. Of course, as always, the great William Regal on commentary. Just seems like he's having an absolute ball, which isn't which makes me feel right nice right here. Anyway, they took on the ragtag team of Brock Anderson, of course, flanked by Arn 40 Cal, or Arn 45 Cal. There we go. Arn 45 Cal. Um, Dante Martin of Top Flight, and Lee Moriarty. Of course, Lee Moriarty was one of the guys that Danielson had, made mention early on in this whole Mox Danielson situation. And right out the gate, the BCC just jumping the ragtag opposition, leading to Wheeler Yuta and Dante Martin to start the match. And this was an incredible match. Of course, I've, 2/3 of the match, Lee Moriarty spent more time on the apron as Brock Anderson and Dante Martin, dished out dished out their share of punishment, but took more than their fair share of punishment. Um, down the Towards the finish, Lee Moriarty finally gets the tag in. He he's taken it to all three members of the BCC, and then it just turns into a Pier 6 brawl as all six men just trading shots with one another. And then there was this really nice spot um, where Mox has Dante Martin in the Bulldog choke, and he's wailing on him. Yuta has I think it has Brock Anderson in a head and arm triangle choke, and then he's just dishing elbows out, and then Danielson has Moriarty by his wrist, and he's doing Danielson stomps. But in the end, Moxley puts away Dante Martin with a paradigm shift for the 1, 2, 3. Next, we had the Undisputed Elite, of course, Adam Cole, Redragon, and the Young Bucks. Adam Cole, Bebe. And, yeah, basically they're, Young Buck. Oh, well, everybody is slumming in recent defeats. Adam Cole lost to Hangman twice. The Young Bucks lost to FTR, and as Kyle O'Reilly called them, the Jungle Cruisers, the Jurassic Express, beat Redragon. So, they're all slumming in their misery when Adam Cole, when Adam Cole gets the idea to try and elevate the Undisputed Elite spirits and put the rest of the locker room on notice. He says that Kyle O'Reilly is going to punch his ticket in the Owen Hart tourney, and they're going to have an Undisputed Elite Open Challenge next week, basically a 5-on-5 match. And yeah, Adam Cole excuses himself as he's got some important business to tend to. And then they end the segment with Kyle O'Reilly telling Brandon Cutler to cut the mic off. Anyway, we go to commercial, come back, and there's a hype package for the whole situation with Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, Satnam Singh, and Samoa Joe. After that, we had an announcement from Tony Khan, and this was just, well, this has been the big announcement that they've hyped up for a week, and everybody, well, everybody thought it'd be one of two things, and it turned out to be the one everybody was most expecting. TK then introduces, and I'm probably going to announce this horribly wrong, or pronounce this horribly wrong, so forgive me, Takami Obari, the president of New Japan. So, as soon as he introduces us to him, the wheels start to turn because the crowd goes, "Oh, yay, that's cool," and then like 2 seconds later, you could just hear the light bulb being hit as they, start to, the crowd starts to swell. And before they can get anything out of their mouth, they're interrupted on the Titantron by Adam Cole, baby, and he announces AEW and New Japan will be hosting a joint pay-per-view called The Forbidden Door on June 26th from the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. And he also announces that this Friday on Rampage, he will be taking on none other than Tomohiro No Neck Ishii from New Japan in a qualifier for the Owen Hart tourney. Which, wow. That's going to be a match of epic proportions right there. Adam Cole, best wrestler on the planet. Tomohiro Ishii, well, basically just a grizzled hard bastard. So yeah. And then he announces a very special friend that would like to say hello to the Elite Faithful. And it's none other than the leader of Bullet Club himself, King Switch, Switchblade, Jay White. And then he says it's no coincidence that the last time New Japan held a joint promotion, held a interpromotional supercard, he single-handedly sold out MSG, of course referring to Supercard of Honor that one year where New Japan outperformed Ring of Honor, which that was embarrassing. And then he then said it's not about New Japan, it's not about AEW, and then the crowd starts chanting Bullet Club. Bullet Club, too sweet, whoop whoop. And Jay goes, it's not about the Bullet Club, it's about the Undisputed Elite and the Bullet Club. So, well, he then caps off by saying it's all about them because it's still their era. So, confirmed. Adam Cole and the Young Bucks are still part of the Bullet Club. Now, if only we could get Prince Devitt back. Just sipping my juice there. Anyway, next there was Jade Cargill hyping her. Next there was Jade Cargill hyping up her match this Friday on Rampage against Marina Shafir, where she puts the TBS Championship and her 29-0 track record on the line. No way, his name is Andy Williams. Anyway, next we had the Butcher come out. His name is Andy Williams. I don't know, it just takes the intimidation factor out of the Butcher's name when you get down to his shoot name. Anyway, he comes down to the ring, he does his his whole gesture. And then they play MJF's music. He then yells, cut the music, and they cut over to him and Shawn Spears in the skybox with popcorn. And then Shawn Spears continues to, basically humiliate Wardlow even more by calling him a nobody, and since he's a nobody, taking away his entrance music. And they even take away his video package. So out comes Wardlow to absolutely little fanfare, except for from the AEW faithful, in handcuffs with security detail. As he and the Butcher have a hoss fight, which Wardlow dispatches Butcher with relative ease. There was a struggle here and there, but The match was well in hand. Of course, Wardlow puts the Butcher away with four power bombs, aka the Powerbomb Symphony, and yeah, he walks down the steps and he gets handcuffed. He jumps at one of the security guards. He bowls over, and Wardlow's just having a good laugh about it. MJF is completely distraught up in his skybox. And we come back from commercial, and Eddie Kingston cuts a promo talking about his match against Danny Garcia this Friday on Rampage. And the meat and potatoes of it was everything Kingston's going to do to Garcia is going to be what he's going to do to Jericho, because Jericho Appreciation Society and Santana Ortiz are banned from the building. And he then warns Garcia that he's going to beat him so bad his friends and family aren't going to recognize him. Then he drops this great line with, "You reap what you sow, but I don't sow, I reap," which, that's awesome. Eddie Kingston's a hell of a talker. I'm glad he's in AEW. Such good juice. Anyway, next we had Jungle Boy taking on Kyle O'Reilly for a spot in the Owen Hart tourney. And this was a really good match. Of course, Kyle O'Reilly is a fantastic in-ring worker, while Jungle Boy is, improving with leaps and bounds. But Kyle O'Reilly puts Jungle Boy away with a diving knee to the kidneys and pins him for 3. Um, afterwards, Christian Cage is consoling Jungle Boy after his loss. Whoa, yay. Next, we had a backstage promo from Maxwell Jacob Friedman, who, he's beyond irritated that Wardlow it keeps getting the better of him. But then he makes an allegory about a snake. He basically, says, once a snake locks onto his prey, no matter how big or how small, it's going to be a matter of time. All it takes is one bite. And then he pulls out a envelope filled with money, and he asks Jake the Snake Roberts if that's right. And Jake takes the envelope and says, "Titles and diamond rings are for little boys who get gussied up to get girls. This makes the world go round." And then he says, it'll be like when you were a kid and told grandma a lie that you fell down because you didn't want her to know daddy hit you. Which I don't know what that has to do with anything, but it's still sinister nonetheless. Lance Archer then just slaps the envelope out of Jake's hand. He says, "I don't care about the money. I just want to face Wardlow. And if anybody gets involved, everybody dies." Next, we had the AEW Dynamite debut of Hook. Which, Hook's great. He's got a big future ahead of him if he's over like Rover already. I like his entrance track. It's great. He takes on Anthony Henry and makes absolutely short work of him. Right before the finish, Danhausen, still trying to curse Hook, pops up and he curses Hook. Hook just slaps on the red rum and he puts away Anthony Henry. Afterwards, Danhausen gets the ring and well, gets a mic and he yells at Hook saying, you know, if I can't curse you, then I will fight you. Hook just stands there, walks past him, just, shoulder bumps him, and just leaves. Next. Oh boy, they really 180'd this whole thing, didn't they? Next, we had a backstage promo from Kazarian. He's had a stellar record as of late on Dark. Oh, I'm sorry, on Dark and Elevation, and he was going to make it known that he's, stepping up to challenge new TNT champion Sammy Guevara when he's interrupted by his old SCU running mate Scorpio Sky. And Scorpio cuts this like really appreciative promo on Frankie Kazarian. He said he had time to reflect, and he realized that his career as of late, within the past 5 years, wouldn't be where it was if it wasn't for Frankie Kazarian. He would never gotten a chance to get his career back on track. He would have never become AEW Tag Team Champions or TNT Champion if it wasn't for Kazarian. Then he makes an emotional plea with Kazarian to get a rematch against Sammy Guevara. Kazarian then agrees, saying he's got nothing but love and respect for Scorpio and he'll back him up no matter what. And then Scorpio walks off and go to break. Come back from commercial, we get a hype reel for Thunder Rose. Of course, she's fresh off of her victory against Nyla Rose at Battle of the Belts Dos. Next, we had the new TNT champion douchebag, Sammy Guevara, and the lovely Ty Conti. And like I said, they 180'd this because Sammy hits the ring and he cuts a "You People" promo, basically where he shows appreciation to the fans that still cheer him, and then he chastises the fans that boo him. And he says, "You're only booing me because my girlfriend is hotter than yours." And then they go, "Be mad or be jealous." I don't know. He just goes full on heel. And then Men of the Year and Dan Lambert come out, and Scorpio Sky, takes up for the crowd. Of course, the crowd is cheering Men of the Year and Dan Lambert, which has got to be foreign to Dan Lambert at this point. Anyway, Sammy Guevara starts to talk, and Ethan Page, very hot and heavy, just yells down the barrel of the mic. He's like, "Not one of these people in this arena paid a ticket to see you talk." And tells him the only reason why Men of the Year aren't hitting the ring to kick his ass right now is because Dan Lambert has some business to tend to. And Dan Lambert, he cuts a face promo, which I didn't have a problem with him cutting this promo, because he wasn't yelling like some confused boomer. He was actually, he was baby facing it, which was pretty weird, but I liked it. He talked about how his grandfather said youth being wasted on the young, and Sammy Guevara is a perfect example of that, because you have these big dreams and these big ambitions and potential ahead of you, but your youth costs you to make poor choices. Like and he likens it to Sammy, who's trying to be, the cool high school douchebag who, couldn't keep his tongue out of his girlfriend's mouth, which, yeah. Then he gives Sammy two choices. First of which, he could give Scorpio Sky his rematch, or Men of the Year jump his ass. Um, this next part was kind of head scratching, but yeah. Um, Sammy then accepts, and he accepts if um, Men of the Year and Dan Lambert give him the mixed tag match that he wants. Scorpio Sky accepts, and Sammy Guevara then puts his belt on the line in a ladder match. So yeah, that'll go down next week. It was a little confusing, but whatever. I guess they're having a ladder match so they can continue this feud without one of them getting pinned. Next, House of Black cuts a promo. I couldn't make heads or tails of this, but the finishing line of this was Malachi Black says that House of Black is owed a debt, and Icarus flew too close to the sun, so next week the sun dies. Which I'm guessing they're still talking about Fuego del Sol. I'm guessing. Next, we had women's Owen Hart qualifiers as Dr. Baker, DMD, the hometown girl of Pittsburgh, who she was accompanied by a couple of the Pittsburgh Steelers players. And did you know she's from Pittsburgh? Anyway, she took on Danielle Camello, formerly known as Vanessa Bourne from NXT, which is great. Great to see her still in the business. Um, this was a pretty alright match. Of course, Britt Baker was playing the face in this match while Carmella was playing the heel. There were a couple of times where she had Dr. Baker right in her crosshairs, but she took too much time instead of capitalizing on. And of course, there was no way Dr. Baker was going to lose in her hometown. Yeah, so she beats Camilla with the lockjaw, and she advances. Hooray! Then she cuts a promo on the state of the women's locker room. She runs down Ruby Soho, Tony Storm, and then she runs down Jade Cargill. She references the fact that Jade Cargill referred to Pittsburgh as ugly, and then she followed up with the only people that paid tickets to see Jade wrestle are her baddie section. Next, we had a video package for Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida's match next week, which they both hype up that it could be the end of this whole debacle between them. And come back from break, and we have our main event: Andrade El Idolo of the Andrade family office taking on Darby Allin in a coffin match. Once again, this was another balls to the walls match. Yeah, I'm just kind of ready for this Andrade Darby feud to be over with, because while the matches have not been bad, they've been really good. Especially adding the extra wrinkle of the Hardy Brothers, but this feud has just gone on too long, and I hope this is the end of it. That being said, once again, these two put on an absolutely stellar match. You know, tons of absolutely brutal and gut wrenching spots. There was even a spot where Sting once again was hiding in the crowd dressed up as Sting. Oh yeah, and he also jump off the overhang in one of the tunnels out in the crowd. So yeah. Anyway, um, the finish came when Darby hit his insanely frightening suicide spear to Andrade, who was on the apron, into the coffin, and both of them land smack dab in the coffin. Darby comes to, and he rolls out, and he's ready to slam the thumbtack riddled coffin door on Andrade when Jose, Andrade's assistant, blocked it, and you know he starts laying into Darby. Darby power bombs him on the thumbtacks of the coffin door, and then Darby slams the door and covers it. He gets the victory, and yeah, once again, I hope this is the end of the feud. Afterwards, Sting helps Darby celebrate, and Hardy Boys just appear, and they just do the delete. And it looked like Jeff was having an issue with his arm because he was doing the delete, and he kind of just like shook it out like he messed it up or something. So yeah, that's it for Dynamite. Just yeah, I was really hoping that that Tony Khan's big announcement is that they got a streaming deal, because paying $60 to watch a pay-per-view on Fight is kind of highway robbery, if you ask me. Anyway, I was hoping that they would announce a streaming partnership with HBO Max, which would save me, money. I wouldn't have to pay for another subscription service because I already have HBO Max. But I guess we'll have to wait on that one. So it's another Dynamite in the books on 4/20. Yeah. Puff puff pass. So that being said, I'm War Machine MJ. You see my titles. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bang.